Fleet Commander Tark of the Galactic Alliance stared at the view screen in disbelief. The human vessel, a tiny, primitive thing by Alliance standards, had just fired something that wasn't energy-based. It was a physical projectile, accelerated to tremendous speeds, and it had just torn through 3 of his escort vessels like they were made of paper. What was that? He demanded, mandibles clicking in agitation. Replay the sensor data. His science officer, Vel, manipulated her console with 4 of her tentacles while the other 2 trembled slightly. It appears to be a metal slug, sir, accelerated to approximately 6% of light speed. That's impossible, Tark scoffed. No species uses kinetic weapons in space. It's inefficient and primitive. The humans do, apparently, Vel replied, her voice quiet with something like awe. They call it a railgun. Captain Jack Miller of the Earth Defense Force vessel Thermopylae watched as the Alliance ships scattered after his first shot. The railgun was still cooling down, a significant disadvantage compared to the Alliance's plasma weapons. But the look on those alien faces must have been priceless. Status report, he ordered, keeping his voice level despite the adrenaline coursing through him. His XO, Lieutenant Lisa Thompson, checked her console. Railgun at 68% cooldown. Their shields are still calibrated for energy weapons, Captain. They never expected kinetic penetrators. Of course they didn't, Miller said with a grim smile. The Alliance has been using energy shields and plasma weapons for 10,000 years. They'd forgotten the basics. The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency. Humanity was the newcomer to the galactic stage, only achieving faster-than-light travel 50 years ago. When they'd encountered the Galactic Alliance, they'd been horrified by the technologically superior conglomerate of species that viewed humans as primitive savages fit only for subjugation. What the Alliance hadn't counted on was humanity's tenacity, their different technological path. In his chambers on the Alliance flagship, Grand Admiral Zor reviewed the battle footage with mounting horror. The human ship had destroyed 3 cruisers with a single shot, a metal projectile. Not a missile with a warhead, not a beam weapon, just a piece of metal moving very, very fast. His aide, Officer Krell, looked equally disturbed. Sir, our shields are designed to disperse energy. They're practically useless against solid matter moving at those velocities. How did we miss this? Zor demanded. Our intelligence indicated the humans were at least 3 centuries behind our technology. They are, sir, in energy weapons and shield technology. But it seems they developed along a different path. They refined their projectile weapons instead of abandoning them like our ancestors did. Zor's compound eyes narrowed, and our ships are not designed to withstand such impacts. Miller ordered his communications officer to open a channel to the remaining Alliance ships. This is Captain Miller of the EDF Thermopylae *. Your ships have been disabled with minimal loss of life. We could have targeted your reactors. Remember that. The silence stretched for nearly a minute before the Alliance commander responded. This is Fleet Commander Tark. We were unprepared for your method of attack. The Grand Admiral requests a ceasefire and diplomatic discussion. Miller exchanged glances with Thompson. They'd expected more resistance. Granted, Miller replied, but be advised, we have a full magazine of kinetic penetrators, and our sister ships are en route. Any hostile action will be met with immediate response. 2 days later, Miller found himself in the ornate diplomatic chamber of the Alliance flagship, facing Grand Admiral Zor across a luminescent table. The difference in their technological aesthetics couldn't have been more stark. The Alliance favored flowing, organic designs and iridescent materials, while Miller's uniform and equipment were utilitarian, angular, and functional. Your railguns have upset the balance of power, Zor stated without preamble. For millennia, our shields have made us invulnerable to all but the most powerful energy weapons. Miller leaned forward slightly. With respect, Admiral, perhaps that's the problem. Your civilization stopped innovating. You found one technological path that worked and stuck with it. And humanity? Zor asked, a hint of genuine curiosity in his alien voice. We never stop trying new approaches. When one path hits a dead end, we try another. Railguns were created centuries ago, but we kept refining them alongside our energy weapons. We use what works. The admiral was silent for a long moment. Our scholars believe that all advanced civilizations would naturally converge on energy-based weaponry. The mathematics seemed clear. Miller smiled. Mathematics doesn't account for human stubbornness, Admiral. 6 months later, the newly formed Human Alliance Defense Coalition held its first joint military exercise. Alliance officers watched in astonishment as human engineers helped retrofit their ships with primitive-looking, but devastatingly effective railgun technology. Commander Tark, now a liaison officer, approached Captain Miller on the observation deck. Our scientists are still struggling to understand why we never developed this technology ourselves. Miller shrugged. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the hardest to see when you're looking for complexity. A piece of metal moving fast enough will always be dangerous, no matter how advanced your civilization becomes. The other species are concerned, Tark admitted. They fear that humanity will upset thousands of years of galactic stability. They should be concerned, Miller said, watching as a human railgun instructor demonstrated loading procedures to a group of Alliance gunners. But not fearful. Humanity doesn't want conquest. We want partnership, but partnership of equals. Tark's alien features formed what Miller had learned was a smile. You know, there's an old saying among my people. New blood brings new strength. Perhaps the Alliance had grown too comfortable. As they watched the exercises continue, Miller reflected on how quickly things had changed. Humanity had gone from facing subjugation to becoming a valued member of the galactic community, all because they'd held on to what the Alliance considered obsolete technology. Sometimes Miller thought being the primitive newcomers had its advantages. Human ingenuity and their willingness to try anything, even old ideas, had earned them their place among the stars, and reminded the galaxy that sometimes the oldest solutions could still be the most effective.